Hey, what's up everybody? JayzTwoCents here, and I've got good news for you, because if you're a mainstream gamer and you've got about $250 to spend on a graphics card and you just haven't known what to buy, the RX480 or the rumored GTX 1060, I've got good news for you. Today's launch day. Whether you're looking for a pump, reservoir, custom GPU block, or a complete loop in a box, AlphaCool's wide range of products can make your next water cooling adventure an easy one. Click the link in the description for more details. So let's get some of the business out of the way first. This is a GTX 1060 Founders Edition. It's got a price point of $299 and an MSRP of $249. I hope to see more board partners down around that $249 price range. It's got a 192-bit memory bus, 6 gigabytes of GDDR5, 1280 CUDA cores. 1920 was on the 1070 and 2560 was on the 1080. Yeah, they're kind of trolling us with the resolution matching CUDA cores, right? But anyway, and it's got a boost clock of 1.7 gigahertz out of the box. Obviously, if the temperatures are in check and the power limit is in control, then it will boost much farther than that, as you'll see in this video. Check this out though. It is a very, very short PCB, which the cooler overhangs like almost half another length of the card there. It's like almost a 50% overhang, which I think is kind of a missed opportunity in my opinion when it comes to this card, because although they want to keep the founder style cooler on there and the blower hangs off the card so the entire card is a giant heatsink, this card would be perfect for small form factor builds, ITX builds, and other things where you want to keep the package small. I bet you guys thought I was going to make a joke there, didn't you? Ha! I can control myself. But anyway, this card unfortunately does not support SLI. Stay tuned to the end of the video. We'll talk about that a little bit deeper, but first we're going to go ahead and get into the benchmarks. Before we start the benchmarks, there's something I want to say. One, yes, I've got the Founders Edition card right there at $299. But fortunately, I have the $259 EVGA GTX 1060 superclocked, which is the same exact PCB as this one right here, but they didn't make the cooler longer. They kept it nice and small. It's got a single ball bearing fan on here. Doesn't have any flashy LEDs that light up. It doesn't have a backplate. I don't expect any of that stuff at this price point at $259. If they had added a backplate and LED, it would have pushed the price up at least $20, $25 more, which I don't think makes sense at this price point. Let's get as much performance as we can for every dollar we spend, and let's make it count. Especially if you are the budget gamer that's got a very, very specific budget you have to stick to. So for the benchmarks, this is the card you're going to see. It is the exact same PCB, but it is a superclocked version, so it boosts up to 1860 megahertz. And so, again, with this cooler, I expect it to boost even farther than that, just like all of my other NVIDIA cards did. But I'm expecting extremely low thermals, very low power draw with a single 6-pin power. They advertise 120 watt TDP. I have no way of testing whether or not it's pulling too much from the PCIe lanes, guys. I don't have equipment to do that, but I will say that the 120 watt TDP means that it's not pulling the max power from either the socket, which is rated up to 75 watts, or the 6-pin, which is rated up to 75 watts for 150 watt TDP. So fortunately, as this thing boosts farther, this TDP is going to go up. So as it goes up, it does look like it's actually going to stay well within spec. But again, I have no way of testing that. One other thing to point out before we move into the benchmarks is I don't have my RX480 right now. So the benchmarks you're going to see for that are the same benchmarks I showed you in that video at launch with launch drivers. My card right now is with Edgar over at TechSource, who's doing his Crossfire video. Since he was kind enough to send me his card, I sent him mine, which unfortunately for me landed during the GTX 1060 launch, so I can't go and test out the new drivers that AMD has launched to kind of correct the PCIe power draw issue, which they say in some instances could actually raise the performance a little bit. I have no way of testing that right now. So it is what it is. I don't have the newest drivers, but I don't expect performance to be much different. All they did was change the way the power is drawn from the power plug versus the socket. So anyway, with all that said, let's move in to the shootout, because I know you guys want to see this.
Transition.
So there you go, guys. Those are the numbers. If you're surprised by those numbers, you're not alone. I'm surprised as well. I expected this card to be a lot closer to the RX480. I really did not expect it to outperform it to the level that it did, at least in the titles that I've got in my testing suite. And the fact that it did it much quieter, much cooler, much less power draw says a lot for the Pascal architecture, especially the GP106 core, considering this thing never went above the 60s whatsoever, even in 4K, and it stayed in the low 60s at 1080p and 1440p. But this thing is more than capable of 1440p gaming. Again, all the benchmarks you saw were like either high or max settings, which is really going to tax the card, even MSAA on the higher resolutions. So that ought to tell you something. So I'm going to put on my subjective hat for a second here. Let me do that real quickly. I think this one actually matches a lot better. The card isn't perfect, and let me tell you why. It doesn't support SLI. No SLI fingers right there. And there's been a lot of rumors about why that is. In fact, there was so much buzz on Reddit about this that NVIDIA actually came out with a statement saying that they did not feel that mainstream gamers were interested in SLI, and they were basically leaving SLI as an exclusive to their enthusiast level graphics cards, 1070 and 1080. I find it kind of unfortunate because I think a lot of people find themselves in a situation where they can afford one of these today, and maybe Christmas time or birthday money or graduation money or whatever, they can buy another one of these and get a lot better performance. I mean, SLI, two-way SLI and two-way Crossfire tend to actually scale pretty good, especially on AAA titles today. Micro stutter is not as much of an issue as it used to be, and driver support is a lot better. So why did NVIDIA lock it out? Well, like I said, they are leaving that as an exclusive now for the 70 and 80 series graphics cards moving forward, which is, I think, unfortunate. But I've got a little bit more of a tinfoil hat theory here, and I think the reason might be two of these might outperform a GTX 1080. I would assume that the GeForce Experience feedback given to NVIDIA lets them know, you know, the profiles and the setups that people are using, just like the Steam hardware statistics show. I guess NVIDIA would know how many people are actually SLIing lower end graphics cards. I have no way of seeing that data, so I don't know if what they said is true. That's up to you guys to decide. But if you're looking at buying one of these and one of these in the future and putting them together, unfortunately, you can't do that. But if you just want a single graphics card that can absolutely blow the doors off of AAA titles at 1080p and 1440p in high or max settings, it's definitely a card worth looking at. It does it quiet, efficient, and pretty much silent. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching today's video. Sound off in the comments. I really, really want to know what you guys think about the SLI thing. I think it's a mistake, personally. But then again, I'm not the company, so what I say is just my opinion. I'm curious as to what you guys have to say about it. Sound off in the comments, or hit me up on Twitter or Facebook. You can find the links to those down below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.